Alright, so, first things first is this movie. I was more excited for this movie than I was for Rogue One and Star Wars 7. Like, being excited and wanting to go to the movies to see it, because this is just something so different from anything else that I've ever seen. I mean, before I even saw it, I thought it was going to be, and it actually was. Um, it was emotional, it was different, it didn't seem like a superhero movie, which I loved, but it was a superhero movie, in a way. It still had some superhero-like elements to it. You know, you got the bad guy, and then you got the good guy, and but, I mean, that's pretty much in everything, isn't it? But, I mean, superheroes especially. But, there wasn't, like, a huge bad guy with, like, huge powers and just overpowerful, anything like that. It was just simply Logan trying to survive and get Laura X-23 to where she needed to go safely with Charles. No judging. I actually thought I would cry in the movie. I did not. I feel like I got close. It kind of teary-eyed, just very sad parts. And Charles in the movie, I did actually expect. I was like 99% sure he was going to die in this movie. Just judging on how the movie's set, and since it's the last time he was Wolverine, unless Ryan Reynolds can get him to do a movie with him as Deadpool, which would take place before the Logan movie, of course, but, unless that happens somehow, then this is the last time we'll see him as Wolverine. So, yeah, I didn't expect Wolverine to die. I did not. I thought there would be a sunset ending, like the Old Man Logan comic book, but there was not. And also, that wouldn't have really made sense after watching it. I started thinking about it some more, and wouldn't have really made sense if there was a sunset ending, because if that's the last time he was going to play Wolverine, and they already plan on going ahead with X-23, or Laura's story, they couldn't have Wolverine, so they wouldn't do that. So they pretty much, I guess, yeah, he died because of that reason. That isn't the reason, but I guess it just makes sense with the story. If they're gonna head on with X-23 story, they can't have Wolverine alive and not show him. That'd just be strange. Because when Wolverine's around, you don't just pretend he's not there. You guys know what I mean. Like, if they made a X-23 movie and Wolverine lived at the end of Logan, and he's alive, and we know he's alive, but it never shows him, that'd just be strange to me, if you guys know what I'm saying. But yeah, I did expect Charles to die, like I was going to say, judging on the trailer of him holding a shovel and them looking sad. It just seemed pretty obvious. I mean, who else would he have been burying that he would care about? Anybody else, he would just have, I don't know, left their body there or dug a hole and, like, went off, not sat there and looked for a little bit. But after seeing the movie, it was obvious. And if you guys have seen it, once again, like I said at the beginning, then I did expect X-24. That was a huge surprise for me. I was really confused and like, wait, what? What did I miss? But I didn't. I didn't take my eyes off the screen, so I missed nothing. I actually thought Charles was having a dream. At first, because Wolverine like stabbed him in the chest, and I thought he was dreaming, having a nightmare. But no, he was actually stabbed, and that's kind of when I was just like, yeah, so didn't really expect that. What I thought was going to happen at first, when I saw the claws in the trailer, Wolverine's blocking, and then the claws come in at his face, I didn't know who it was, and then I started to think, maybe it's Dakin, but then I was like, wait, he doesn't have adamantium claws. But then, after hearing, and I saw the, actually look this up right now, real quick, just to show you guys. Sorry, this will take 1 second. Alright, here we go. So, okay, it's loading. Alright, so on iTunes, they have the Logan soundtrack, and the day before, it was like, 2 days before, I went to see the movie. I looked it up on here to see if it was there, and I noticed it says X-24 on there, and I was really confused, like, wait, who is that? So I looked up who that was, and they had no one who it was. There was no, it just showed other Weapon X programs, not programs, sorry, like, people they use the Weapon X program on, and so I started thinking, maybe since it's X-24, it would make sense if it was, like, it would have to, because Laura, she's like 11 or 12, so if 24 comes after 23, of course, it couldn't be like a littler kid. So I was thinking maybe Dakin, because in The Wolverine, that the Japanese woman, why can I not remember her name right now? Mariko, I think is how you say it. Something like that. That, when I looked up Dakin, that is his mom. And Wolverine and her did have some lovey times in that movie. So, I was thinking, yeah, maybe he was born. Wolverine didn't know about it. He had bone claws, and then after X-23 was a thing, then they operated it on Dakin and gave him adamantium claws, and then they sent him off to go try to kill Logan, because, you know, for whatever reason, Dakin hates Logan. That's why. That's what I thought was going to happen, and they really surprised a lot of people. But then it also makes sense, is because when they release a cast, they release the cast. They don't pretend that someone's not in it. They don't take it out and release the actual full cast after the movie's done. That's what's kind of hard nowadays about trying to put something surprising in a movie, because there's links and just websites and things get out, and then there's the cast that you can just look up. Just like with The Walking Dead, you're like, oh, wonder if this person's alive or something. You know, you can just look up the cast. Just any movie pretty much, and you can figure out who's going to be in it. So like let's say if Dakin was in it, you would look at the cast and it would show some actor that Dakin was going to be in it, and maybe they wanted to be a surprise, but it wouldn't end up being a surprise. Because it would show his name, maybe not say who he plays, but leave people confused, but also knowing, because it's kind of obvious. But yeah, that's what I thought, but it was not. It was a clone of him. Like a full clone. He didn't seem as strong as Wolverine, though. I mean, he was in this, but let's just say if Logan, Old Man Logan, was at his prime in that, and that clone was made exactly the way it is, he would have been a lot stronger than it, because it really did some damage to him, and yes, that is the reason why he died, because his healing slowing down, and he lost too much blood and took too many injuries to survive. So he's pretty much a normal human when he died. Normal person without healing factor. So, yeah, that was the part where I got kind of teary-eyed. I got when he died, and I was surprised, but I also wasn't, because I saw it coming a little bit, not too much. It was just the way he was laying there. And when it showed the rocks on top of him with the X, well, it was a cross, but Laura turned it into an X by leaning it over. I actually thought his hand was going to come out, but it didn't. That would have been nice, but yeah, since it's his last time, I guess in a way it doesn't completely matter if he's still alive, if it's the last time we're going to see him, but then it does, because it's just sad that he's gone in the universe of the X-Men. But he lived a very long and not happy life, which is also sad. He had some good times, he had a lot of bad times. A lot more bad times than good times. So, what I think of the movie? Loved it. There's nothing I did not like about it at all. And also, it's a mixture of two of my favorite things, superheroes and apocalyptic. Because it was kind of post-apocalyptic, it was in the desert, and that's my favorite setting. That's one of the reasons why I like Mad Max so much. And, I don't know, just like, of me wanting to be a movie director, I can imagine myself, like, the only movies I've ever thought of actually doing is some post-apocalyptic movie, and I have also thought if somehow I could, which I doubt this would ever happen, they don't make an Old Republic movie, Star Wars, by the time I'm an adult, if I become a movie director, then I would sure really want to do that, and I would if I got the chance. But yeah, so amazing movie. If you guys are watching this and you don't care about spoilers, it's kind of strange, but keep watching, I guess, if you are. Yeah, this is I'm gonna say that just for if there is people like that watching this. Highly recommend this movie. It's amazing. Even though I gave a bunch of spoilers so far, yeah, wouldn't just not go and see it in the theaters. But I doubt anybody who hasn't seen it is watching this, because who likes spoilers? No one does. Which, I guess if you choose to want spoilers, then it's okay, but if they're sudden, then it's bad. Pretty much the only thing else to talk about on the movie is just some few more things that come to mind. Some things that it felt like I said, it did not feel like a superhero movie, but at the same time it did. It had more of a human feel to it, like they said it was going to. It was a lot grittier. It said a few F-bombs, probably about 30 of them throughout the whole movie. I don't know, maybe 20-something, but yeah, there's a lot of them. And it was kind of weird seeing Charles act the way he did. Not really Logan so much, because he's kind of always acted like that, somewhat. But he's had more of what's the word I'm looking for? He's always had a little bit more of sympathy for people. Just a little bit more, but he's lost all sympathy at all. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care about himself. In the beginning, he doesn't care about Laura. He probably couldn't care less if she died when he first met her. Not saying he thought that and wondered it. I'm just saying if she did, he didn't know her, so he wouldn't have cared. And Charles is the only thing that keeps him going. He even gets annoyed by Charles a lot, and he doesn't even care to live in this movie. He would actually keeps an adamantium bullet for himself, just in case. So I guess his plan was if Charles dies, he would have just shot himself, because that was the only reason why he even tried to live, even tried to do anything, by getting the Sunseeker, which is a boat, and live on the ocean, is for Charles, because I'm assuming that's why, because, even if he had a lot of money, he would still not be living a very nice life, I feel, just because everything he's been through, and everything that's happened to them, and the way he feels all the time, so, yeah, so he's pretty much just running from himself a little bit, but, doesn't he do that in all of them, pretty much, except, the 3 X-Men movies, I guess, but, yeah, so, it did have a way different feel than any other movie I've ever watched, and I knew it would. That's one of the reasons why I was so excited to see this. Yeah. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit about future of Wolverine. So, like I said, this is the last of Hugh Jackman we will see as Wolverine, unless some reason there's a cameo, which I doubt there will be, which will be anything else. If Hugh Jackman is in any other thing of Wolverine, it will be before Logan, of course, because he died. Yeah, superheroes resurrect, but this is a realistic world. In X-Men, they don't resurrect, except if there's time travel involved. And also Cable's going to be introduced into Deadpool, so crap. Not a big fan of time traveling confusion, which is why I watched a video on the timeline. If you guys want to watch that video, just look it up. Just look up the timeline of the X-Men. It's Logan. It actually makes sense, sort of. But, yeah, so, I guess, that would be nice if they brought him back, and Hugh Jackman decided that'd be the way to go, but I feel like they'd just be dragging it on a little bit much. But, for me, anything to see him, but I think it's nice that they sent him off the way that they did. yeah, so, like, if they didn't plan on having Laura in any more movies, they could have done a sunset scene. I would have been fine with that. But, like I said before, if he did live at the end and they were planning on doing Laura movies, it wouldn't make sense if he wasn't in it. Because he's, like, a huge character, and he is, like, what brings the X-Men together, pretty much. I mean, he doesn't, but, you know, he's the main character in the X-Men movies. Just no matter way you look at it, even First Class. I mean, he's there. He's always there because he's been alive so long. So, just, you know, guy's life. And doesn't know anything about the X-Men for a while. But, yeah, and so Deadpool 2. And I feel like if he does end up in another movie, Deadpool 2, maybe not. Deadpool 3, maybe not. But I feel like maybe third Deadpool or fourth, I don't know. I feel like somehow Ryan Reynolds will get Hugh to be in. I just have this really good feeling that will happen. And hope that will happen. My two picks for the next Wolverine actor, and well, a lot of people feel like there should be another Wolverine actor, and some people probably don't. I do, but only if he's in the MCU, which I try to think how they could put him in the MCU, and it's really confusing because you don't hear anything about mutants in the MCU. They could change his origin a little bit, which would be okay. Maybe how Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are in Avengers Age of Ultron. Maybe he could be something like that. Not be a mutant, because they're not really mutants. There's not mutants in the MCU. So, because it hasn't been mentioned, that's the only really route they could go, I feel. Unless there's some other thing they could come up with, but it's also Marvel, they can do whatever they want. So, they could all of a sudden just pop up and mention the MCU. I mean, not MCU, sorry, mutants. So, but who knows. But my two picks, like I was getting ready to say, are Tom Hardy or Scott Eastwood. Tom Hardy, he's got the height and the bulkiness, and he's also Australian, so he'll be another Australian pretending to be a Canadian, making everybody think he's American. And Scott Eastwood would also be nice. I can imagine him more with the MCU for some reason. Like if I imagine Captain America and Iron Man, I can imagine him more than I could Tom Hardy. But there's a better chance of Tom Hardy playing him than that. That's the only two actors. I've looked at so many other actors that people have said who play him, and I've looked at other actors, and that's the only two that I could see playing him. I have a feeling Tom Hardy will, if anybody. And it was stated in an interview with Hugh Jackman that yes, no one has to worry that it is not the end of Wolverine in movies. So yes, they will get another actor, but I'm just kind of scared who it's going to be. If it's not Tom Hardy or Scott Eastwood, I'm kind of scared who it'll be. Unless they surprise me with someone I have no idea who it is. But Hugh Jackman will always be the best Wolverine, and amazing performance in every single movie, even one where he was just in it for about 15 seconds, just telling someone to go F themselves. So, yes. If you guys are watching this and you haven't seen the movie, that's kind of weird, but alright. So just go check out this movie. If you've already seen it, hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, anything you agreed with or thought or disagreed with, I guess. Maybe not disagreed, but comment whatever the heck you want. If it's something crappy, I'll just delete it anyway, like I do everybody's. That's crappy. Just some mean comment. None of that. Just no mean comments. Come on, guys. So, have a fantastic day, and I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is talk for a really long time into an iPod. Have a nice day. Bob.